Now that we have our comic template chosen and our images in place, it's time to start working with some text. First, let's start with the title. I am going to double click this title, and pardon the screen keyboard, I left my Bluetooth keyboard elsewhere. I'm going to call this Randy's Comic. One thing you need to be aware of when you work with titles is no matter how much text I put in this box, when I click away, that text will be stretched or squeezed into the size of the box. So I'm going to click away. And that looks pretty fine. But if I double click it, add some more, just adding some stuff here, and click away, it all still stuffed into that space. So you want to be a little bit careful when working with titles. Titles do not need to be several sentences long. I promise you, small titles are just fine. So there's Randy's Comic. Now let's talk about Randy for a moment. I'm going to go to the little blue man in the upper left corner, and I'm going to manipulate the text for the box he's in. I'm going to double tap the box. When I double tapped it, you see the words are now highlighted in blue. So since they're highlighted, if I start to type, it'll instantly start to replace them. So there once was a man named Randy. Click away. And that looks okay. Now I could tap the box once and then click and drag it around a little bit. One thing I am going to do, I am not 12 years old. My eyes are not 12 years old. I'm going to double click inside the box and think for a moment, where might I click to make this text a little bit larger? If you think the eye symbol in the upper right hand corner, you are correct. I'm going to tap the eye and I'm going to make that 12 point. Although usually when I work in text documents I make them 14, but I don't want to look silly in a comic, and I'm going to click away. And we'll get back to that again in a little bit, so don't worry if you didn't catch all that. I also see that my second line is a little bit close to the black line around the box itself, so I'm going to tap the box once. I'm going to grab the middle bottom circle and I'm just going to extend it, which of course manipulates my image, so I'm going to double tap my image and shrink him just a little bit as well. There we go. There once was a man named Randy. So let's take this little fella here in the right, upper right. I'm going to tap once on the speech bubble, and you'll see the blue bubbles around the round part, and you see the green bubble at the bottom. The blue part is for resizing the circular area and changing the text. So let's do that first. I'll double click. It's a light blue so I can start to type. This little fella says, "Hi, I'm Randy," and I took advantage of the autocorrect. And we'll click away. Oops, I'm going to double click him. I size 12. Except with the point of my speech bubble, I don't know it's him saying anything. So I'm going to tap that again. I'm going to grab the green circle and I'm going to move the point closer to his mouth. And that looks all fine and dandy. There's another thing you can do, and you don't see that when you click on the circular part. If I click around the point, the thick part between the circular point and the point that points toward the mouth, I'm saying the word point a lot here, but if you tap in that area, now you see two red dots and a yellow dot. Those dots help you shape that speech bubble. So maybe I want it coming out like this. Now maybe because I did that, I changed the green around a little bit. You get more options that way, the shape of the speech bubble. And let's go on down. Again, I'm going to tap, I'm going to double tap, although I could have just double tapped to begin with. I had an extra tap there. I'm going to say he likes action movies. And he really, really does. I'm going to double click, just grab it all, I in the upper right hand corner, and I'm going to go to 12. And your words here, I'm going to, I want the actual rounded part for the moment. I'm going to keep all of this. Well, with this font, it doesn't matter. Lowercase, uppercase. Hi. Oops, double click. And size 12. And he's doing some sort of karate chop. Trust me, you don't want to see me do a karate chop. And finally, I'm thinking on this bottom right hand corner, let's change the text there. I'm going to move the brown down. I'm going to double click Kerrang! And I'm going to go POW! Exclamation point. I could be done here, but there's one more thing I want to do. And I want to show you this option with titles. I'm going to tap the title, pause, tap a second time. So that's not a double tap, that was 2 taps. And I'm going to choose Reshape. Now my blue circles are green. I can click and drag a green circle and change the shape of my text, which of course means you need to, I'm going to tap away, double tap to grab my image, and you need to move your picture, and I need to zoom in by pinching out, and I need to adjust his angle, and that's good enough for the moment. I'm going to pinch back in, go to that, and there is an adjusted text and an adjusted image. One last thing to show you. If you choose your text and you click on the eye, here's a more traditional way of manipulating text. I can make it bold, italicized, underlined, change the size, change the color, even change the font. So that's how you change the look of all of that stuff. You can even change the font of the go, the title, although that's not the best look on the planet, okay, but that's how you would change the title. And also notice the difference here. I double clicked so the text was blue, tap the I, and I can manipulate the text. I tap it once, I have the blue dots around my title, I click the I, and I get options for title. Okay. It's all about what's selected with that little I button. I'm going to choose, I'm going to choose lettering, and maybe this one. And you see the effect along the bottom. I actually prefer the original. Then I'm going to choose, I'm sorry, that was style. This is lettering. Join glyphs is on. I'm going to turn them off, and now you can see the difference between the P and the O and the W. Okay, join, you can still read it, but they're meshed together. Kind of a nice little effect. And you can change the font here as well. And of course, in Arrange, you can do the layering as we discussed in the last video. And those are the basics of how to add and to manipulate text in Comic Life.